I'm under oxygen. Okay, we're live. So hello and welcome to my 6 p.m. talk. So every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Bali time, I give this short talk on various topics related to our mental health, sometimes on my own and sometimes with a guest. The aim of this talk is to help break the stigma around mental health and to talk about the different problems that we can face, different diagnoses, relationship issues, treatments, solutions, just general suggestions. And this talk, however, represents my own clinical opinion over the last 20 years of clinical practice. And all the information shared doesn't replace a personalized mental health advice. So if you are unwell, it's important to seek and to consult with a healthcare professional in your area. So if during the talk you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate just to write them, and I'll do my best to answer them during the live or later. So today is the talk is going to be about a specific condition, and having energy on some days and feeling unmotivated on other days happens to all of us. However, whenever these fluctuations last longer, they interfere with our daily functioning, whether at work or in our relationships, accompanied by a great deal of physical as well as mental symptoms like inability to sleep, experiencing racing thoughts, having an urge to talk, to be extremely talkative, or being compelled to keep talking, extreme forms of restlessness, or behaving in ways that show some kind of poor judgment because they're quite impulsive, are typical symptoms to anybody who experiences something called bipolar disorder, which is a type of mood disorder. And this is the topic going to be the topic of today. It can be a condition that can be quite confusing, not only to the person who's suffering, but also to the loved ones who really don't know exactly how to respond to something like that. So how can someone go from being so optimistic and energetic can just suddenly shift to being so down, so depressed, and at times it can be even life-threatening. So very difficult to see any kind of hope or whatsoever for the future. So these are like bipolar is on a spectrum of disorder. So there are different types. There's one we call bipolar 1, another called bipolar 2. They can also come in mixed. The difference between them has to do with the type of energy that they might have, also known as being manic or hypomanic, and cycles of being very down and very, very depressed. So one can be much more present than the other. And you also have another form called cyclotimic or cyclothymia, which is another form of mood disorder, also known as rapid cycles, and is much more frequent in duration. Normally, to get this diagnosed is through a psychiatrist and through a clinical psychologist, a clinical evaluation that is carried out in order to come up with such a diagnosis. So globally, there's about 46 million people around the world who have bipolar disorder. So it's something that is quite prevalent, although maybe many people still find it difficult to talk about this and to open up. So the aim of this talk today is to raise awareness about this very confusing condition. It can be very debilitating as well without the right help, without the right support and the right treatment. The average age of onset for this condition is typically, statistically speaking, around the age of 25. The younger the symptoms begin, typically the more severe the condition tends to be. So if it starts around the age of 18 years old, that's really typically the most severe forms. Today we have a special guest who has volunteered for the cause to share her own experiences. That she's been struggling with bipolar for 19 years, and she will be joining my talk today right now, and she'll be sharing about her life experiences, and just waiting for her to come in and to join me now. Just a second. So the moment that she will be joining, wait a minute, with the right live, and again, just before she joins, I'd like to also thank our host, my host today, which is again Teco T, which is, we're waiting for the guest to come on and not Teco T. Okay. So again, the talk is really about looking into exploring how one can be living with this condition, because it can be really difficult to navigate through these extreme type of symptoms. Usually there's a full team of specialists that are involved to help not only assess the type of mood disorder the person is suffering from, but also to be able to treat them in a way that will allow the person to live a functional life. So here, my guest for today is just, please welcome Céline Sanli.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Céline.
Hi. Thanks for having me today, Jeremy.
Thank you for joining. Just a second. We're having a bit of an issue with the sound. Oops. Just a second here.
It's probably because we're too close.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Céline. How's it going?
Thank you very much for having me. How are you, Jeremy?
Yeah. Thank you for being willing to do something like this. I know that it's not something that is very easy to do. Sorry, we're having just a bit of an echo.
Okay.
Maybe if you can just put yourself somewhere that has less of an echo, that would be great.
Be better now, yeah?
Still a bit of an echo. All right, we're gonna get there. I mean, again, this is the first time we're doing this, and it's great to have someone who's really volunteered to join us, to join this.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's much better. Great. So, Céline, I understand that you've been struggling with bipolar for quite a long time, so about like 19 years. Perhaps you can maybe share a little bit with us how this has been for you, or just maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, whatever you feel comfortable to share, obviously.
Okay, I'll just head to the point. Is it okay? Maybe I just get online again, because I think we're still having the echo.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
sorry, guys. I'll do that in a minute. So
yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Just having a bit of an echo problem. But Céline is going to join us again in a moment. So the good news, talking about this condition, just while waiting for Céline to arrive, is that it is something that can be treated, and there are different ways of being able to manage such a condition. The most difficult part, of course, is the assessment. And for a lot of people, it can be such a confusing time, so they don't necessarily seek the right help immediately. So they don't seek the help immediately, and so that basically will mean that symptoms experience will be exacerbated. A person will be suffering for some time before they actually get the right treatment. So again, the intention here behind this talk that I'm giving today, but actually every other talk, is to help pave the way towards breaking the stigma around mental health. And I think it's important to be able to share and talk about one's experiences. I think that's the bravest thing one possibly can do, is to do something like what Selene has chosen to do today, which is to open up and to share a bit of her experiences, in the hope that it's something that can be helping and serving others also who are listening. Hi, thanks for joining. All right, just waiting. Selene has just joined us again. Hi, Selene.
Hi. It
Okay,
should be better
great.
now, right?
Yeah, it's working perfect now.
Okay.
Great. All
Sorry
right,
about
so you were about to actually share a little bit about yourself and your experience over the years. It's been like close to 20 years now of living with bipolar. And perhaps you'd like to share, like I said earlier a moment ago, a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, it's been almost 20 years. It started with a trauma, and I directly bumped into depression, and that lasts for a couple of years. And I started seeing a psychiatrist like immediately,
Okay.
but I resisted starting medication.
All right. So what was it that led you to kind of be open to seeing a psychiatrist as like the first step?
Well, with my case, it's you know, it runs in the family. So my mom already had it, so I was familiar with the disorder.
Yes.
So in a way, I was lucky. I skipped the part trying to understand what's happening to me. Why is this happening to me? So I kind of knew about it. So I took immediate action, but just joining the sessions, just going back and forth, but I didn't start medication.
Okay, so it wasn't like right away. So what happened afterwards?
For like a year, I was trying to act okay. I was playing that yeah, I could manage it without medication and everything. But then I came to a point where I was like going either really down or like super high. So I said, okay, I have to give it a try. And
Yeah.
so I decided to listen to him actually, but he has never been pushy, by the way, also.
Okay. I think that's important to have someone like a healthcare professional who's very understanding and who has this kind of really soft approach.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I actually wanted to start with. Like, it's a big teamwork. Like, there has to be your psych. You need a psychiatrist where you can trust, where you can share your most intimate fears, your anything. You need a good trust between your psychiatrist plus the therapist.
Yes. Yes.
And
So
you
that
also
took a
need
while for
a
you.
supporting family. You're very lucky if you have that, and plus a close circle of friends. So that's there has to be a teamwork. I've been lucky with that. Everyone has been very understanding with whatever I was going through. So that was how it started. And the first few years, actually, it was exactly like you said. It was a struggle. It's like you don't want to name it. You don't want to be stamped. You don't want to accept the fact that you will have this thing till the rest of your life. You need your you need to be on pills the whole time, because I believe that's a very important part, actually. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, the medication treatment. So it's a big teamwork, and it's not only for the sufferer but also for the caregivers around.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying about the medication. Obviously, this is not like an easy decision to take, and it took you about a year before you actually decided, okay, well, maybe this is something I do need. So I suppose that there are many other people, other other people who are going through the same thing, I mean, is there something that you would tell them with regards to this a specific sensitive issue of medication?
Yes, it's very sensitive. Well, actually, I couldn't figure out a way without a medication. I tried. I resisted. I started. I was doing fine. Then I decided, no, I can do it without medication. I went off it, and then I either went like too high or too down. So I think the balance, we need medication for the balance. So I stopped fighting against it. So it's been 19 years and we're getting along with the pills.
Yeah, yeah, and I suppose that the medication might change over the years as well.
That was a process actually. It took more than 3 years to find the best combination. It's very unique. Like
Yeah.
one medication definitely doesn't fit to the other one. So it took around like 3 years to find the best combination because you go through the side effects. Like, okay, I don't want to go much more details about the side effects of everything because that's very unique for everyone.
For everybody.
That's the process to find the good medication. And there are times, of course, you might need to change it in years.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Now, and of course, there's different degrees of severity in terms of like types of mood disorders, like bipolar. So some people are affected perhaps very mildly. I do, know a few people who have been able to manage to navigate through the bipolar, maybe using alternative means such as looking at healthier lifestyles, perhaps looking at their food intake, and doing certain balances there without necessarily taking medication, and are actually doing all right. But this is really for certain people in which maybe their conditions is extremely mild. Is this something that for you, you've also had to kind of make certain adjustments to, or was it just like the medication that was like the solution for you?
No. It's only part of it. It's about like changing your whole lifestyle. Actually, it's.
Oh, just a second, Helen. Yeah, because we just have a connection. Yeah. Just waiting for the connection just to come back a moment. Okay, Selen, so we're back here.
Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead again.
Okay. So one thing clicked me actually in one of my sessions when we were still in the period of finding the best combination for the treatment.
Yes.
My psychiatrist told me, he said something very that serious. Now I realize more that clicked. Like he said, if I tell you you have to drink orange juice because you have a social life, you like to go out, you like to meet with your friends. And if I tell you to, no, you have to drink orange juice while everybody else is drinking wine, then you're going to start feeling sick. And that's the worst treatment ever for. So what he did actually to arrange to customize everything according to my lifestyle. That's when I clicked that, oh, okay, so I could live with this. I just need to do a couple of changes. And then I started working on myself. Just started thinking about what triggers me, what's bothering me, what's making me happy. And like, for example, the simplest thing, I don't like to go out for dinners or lunches, like, Because for me, sitting at a table for 2 hours, it's a very long time to be to to stand still. And it's been years that I don't do it. I either just meet them at the end of the dinner. I catch up at one point that it's not bothering me. Or like it's been, I don't know, more than 10 years I haven't been to a movie because it's too loud for me. It's too dark for me. So it's okay. I watch it at home with fewer people and not that loud. So starting with the treatment, I started to reshape my life accordingly. And that's where it started helping me a lot. But this was a process. This took years.
Yeah, I can imagine that it was like a whole new learning. A whole new learning. And so in the end, what did you identify, for example, certain triggers, or in what way has perhaps your psychotherapist, psychologist helped you in the process, kind of learning to manage or control those mood swings?
Well, the therapist had I think one of the biggest roles here, and to find what was good for me and what was helpful, what was not. My triggers. She was very helpful. I think that's a big role for the therapist as much as the psychiatrist, um, because she was helping me to find. I never thought about what my lifestyle should be before that. I mean, I was living like everybody else before I was
Yeah.
going through ups and downs. So I didn't have the awareness to work on myself before.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
she suggested like this, like yoga, meditation, and everything. I tried all of them, and it turns out, by the way, they never worked for me. I'm more like a jogging on the beach person.
Hmm.
But with a therapist, like working in years, I found out what's the best thing for me.
That's great. That's really important what you're sharing here, because obviously, I guess many psychotherapists, psychologists today will be talking about mindfulness practices and activities, and a lot of the time we'll be talking about yoga and meditation, and of course these are very beneficial activities, but sometimes they might not necessarily work for one person, and it's about finding what actually works for you or for the other. And it seems that that's kind of the process that you have had to kind of go through yourself, until eventually you found
Exactly.
the type of mindfulness, that actually works for you. Mm.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are the kind of things that, like, for example, I mean, how do you navigate through your mood swings today? Are they as, let's say, extreme as they were before? Like, what does it look like for you? What does a, let's say, good day or a bad day look like for you at the moment in your life compared to maybe before?
Yeah, of course, compared to before, I'm like as healthy as everyone else around. Like I have my ups and downs like everyone else. Because medication, I don't think it's good when it's like making you like dull or vegetable. I'm sorry to say,
Mm.
but I always avoided those.
Mm.
So and it's okay to go through ups and downs. I don't want to be the like I can't be perfect. I don't want to be perfect, like perfectly stable. I mean,
Mm.
it's fine. There, I have my own reasons to be upset about. I have my own happinesses to cheer more up for. But I'm not going like super high or super low. Like I'm much more balanced, but I still have my ups and downs, which I'm
Mm.
totally okay with.
Yeah, which is wonderful actually. It's great that you are where you are today and you seem to be more comfortable in yourself with respect to this. And like you said, I think it's really important to have a proper team behind you.
Oh, that's very important. It's very important.
Mm, yeah. I
Like,
think there's a lot of people out there who are possibly really struggling and resisting the whole process because it can be such a confusing condition, especially at its onset, that nobody really knows, especially if in the family, for some, there isn't a history of depression or bipolar. It can be quite startling. And again, confusing for the family and for the person themselves. So they might kind of resist the whole process of help. They might find themselves perhaps, refusing or denying, experiencing certain changes that other people around them are clearly observing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's one of the most important things. Like, I remember once now I'm laughing. I I have many stories. Like one night, all of a sudden, I decided to run up and down the street in the middle of the night,
Yes.
and my friend, who she was aware of what I was going through, she patiently waited for me. Just she sat on the corner of the street and she waited me to finish. This is, I think, one of the perfect help that you could have at that time. I'm not I'm not damaging anyone. I'm not damaging myself. But it's like, okay, forth in the street in the middle of the night. So like you have her around you. It's like one of the main things.
Yeah, it is definitely the key elements to have, like the right support of people around you to, I think that's something that is can sometimes be difficult to find, but it's possible to surround yourselves with people that will be supportive and help. Oh, I think that the connection just had Selene leave us. Not sure if she's going to be coming back. Yes, I mean, in terms of like the process of, the early process of a person who's getting treatment, at least working with a psychiatrist and a psychologist, there's a lot of groundwork that can be achieved using a type of therapy known as cognitive behavioral therapy, or dialectical behavioral therapy, which are different forms of therapy that address our different our patterns of thoughts and behaviors, and the way that we regulate our emotions, the way we work through our emotions, how to identify them, and how to work through them. So CBT or DBT is, and there are many other very specific techniques that can be really helpful in the overall treatment of someone who's been diagnosed with bipolar. And like Selene was saying, it's a teamwork, and it's not something that is solely on medication. But obviously, if we're suffering with symptoms that are very severe, and it's, we're very, let's say we're very down, very depressed, we have too many thoughts, so we're really unable to think, we're unable to sleep. Of course, therapy, having immediate therapy when the symptoms are very severe, might not necessarily be beneficial. And so that's why we need to absolutely go through a process in which we need to give time to find the right medication, the right mood stabilizers to help kind of regulate what's happening in the person's body. Simply because we're talking about a deficiency happening at a chemical level. And there can be many reasons for that, but the objective of having these mood regulators, these mood stabilizers that are prescribed by a medical doctor, so a psychiatrist in this case, we need to make sure that that is actually effective before being able to be in the ready to benefit from a cognitive behavioral type therapy approach. So I was just wondering, Selene, if you found it beneficial when you were doing your own therapy to actually have a diary, to keep a diary where you're maybe keeping notes of your mood and maybe writing any other details that might have been useful to you?
I did that in the very beginning, which I even have a hard time understanding, but I remember keeping a journal, like, just to find out what was triggering me, what is a good day, what I was doing in a good day, or what was a hard day for me, and then I wasn't feeling well the next day. And that helped me a lot, actually, to reshape the way that I was living, for setting my boundaries, just to figure out who I am,
Yeah.
actually. So the therapy side helped me a lot with mindfulness, with awareness, self-love, self-care. After like a few years, I'm still in
Mm.
progress, by the way. I don't think I think it's a never-ending
Mm.
journey. And keeping a journal, like, really helped a lot. I don't do that anymore,
Yes.
but in the beginning I did. It worked
Yes,
a
yeah.
lot.
Like you said, it helped a lot in your awareness, because I guess at the beginning it can be really difficult and to identify, to know when you're actually beginning to have maybe a manic episode, or when you're starting to enter into a depressive episode. It's difficult to read a little bit the signs of what's going on. And I suppose maybe having that journal has helped you progressively over time to learn more about yourself and how this condition is kind of functioning in you. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, um, I have I've always had hard time with mixed episodes, like ups and downs during the
Yes.
day. Like, I wake up super happy, and like all of a sudden I start feeling down, like aggressive, agitated. What therapy helped me with is, like, it taught me how to go back. Okay, why am I triggered? What happened
Mm.
there? Just to ask the right questions, to go back and fix it. And there are days, like, sometimes you can't do it. Okay, I'll sleep on it. But even that was a good solution.
Okay.
Okay, so I found, like, okay, this is about me. I don't think I can fix it today. I'll wait for tomorrow.
Okay.
Sleep on it. It's very these daily simple things.
Yeah. I think that you're talking about sleep there, and I think a lot of people with mood disorders really struggle with their sleep patterns. Um, what do you do? What do you find helps you in your case? I know everybody's different with this condition, but what has been helpful for you so far?
Um, well, insomnia kind of came with the
Mm.
package, and I still can't sleep more than 5 hours, which many people say, "Oh, it's not enough." It's enough for me. It's perfect if I sleep for like a good 5 hours. I figured that out, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and I just schedule everything else accordingly. I'm not very good at working outdoors in loud environments, so I prefer to working at nights. So I sleep 5 hours, and the rest I'm good to work with. So, like I said, it's very unique. It's all about finding what works for you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if there is a message, let's say a message of perhaps of hope that you would like to share, coming from your experience to other people that are out there who maybe are in the process, or maybe they haven't been diagnosed yet, maybe they're still confused about what's going on. I mean, if there's a message of hope, what would you like to people to know?
Well, I'm sure there are more things to say, but from my experience, I think it's more about how you handle the disorder more than having the disorder itself. It's about the way you handle it. I think that's, as long as you work on it, work on yourself, your triggers, your boundaries, what's good for you. I survived. I think everyone can. But together with the medication, please don't get me wrong. Other than that, it doesn't work.
Okay. Thank you, Selene. Thank you for being willing to join today and to share your experience with this. I'm sure that many other people, hopefully, they will find this really helpful and hopeful for themselves. Also for your loved ones, anybody who's listening who has loved ones with this condition, they can hopefully through this is going to be hopeful and also inspiring. I think you have an inspiring story to share that you just did, Selene. So thank you for this.
Thank you.
So this is going to be all for today's talk because I try to keep it within kind of a half an hour. Hopefully this has been like full of insight for everyone, and of course the aim of these talks is to create awareness, more importantly to encourage people to talk out. I think this is a platform. If you have something you'd like to share, please, you can just do so. I think this is the most powerful thing one can do, to be able to talk and share and to break the stigma on mental health in general, because I think we don't do much effort still on this topic. I think we give importance to many other ailments, but mental health has to do with what's happening emotionally to us, and a lot of the time we can be keeping our emotions inside. Maybe we feel guilty, maybe we feel ashamed, maybe we are afraid to actually share. But in the end, we're all human. We all experience emotions, and it's good to be able to talk them out, to break the stigma, and to, that's how we get support. That's how we can, try not to pretend to be perfect at all, and I think when we can accept the way we are with our imperfections and our uniqueness, then we really send a powerful message of support to each other in this life. So if you have any questions, any topic that you'd like me to cover in the coming weeks, I know there's going to be other guests along the way. Sometimes I'll be talking on my own, like I said initially, and some other times, we'll have wonderful guests like Selene today. And so thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, for following, and see you again all next week. Stay safe and be very well. All right. Bye for now.